Today I'm over here in the medium, Highway 17, like not far from Howard Coffin Park, and this is the Lanier Oak. But what's significant about this oak in the 1870s, when Sidney Lanier visited Brunswick, he used to sit under this oak, looking at the marsh out here, and wrote a poem, The Marshes of Glen, which is one of our famous poems today. A lot of people don't realize when the Lanier Oak was here, when the Sidney Lanier was here, the river was right there where the road was. And the river came all the way around to right there where the parking lot is. And they used to have a boathouse sitting right here for you to put your boat up when you got out of the river. So the river at one point came right next to this tree, all the way down where 17 is. So I guess they filled it in over time. Because in the old pictures, you see the river is right next to this tree almost. It's just basically where the road is, all the way down. This is also another interesting picture of the Lanier Oak. You could tell this is in the past that there used to be a river right next to it where Highway 17 is now. This is Lanier Oak, which is in the middle of Highway 17 now. Highway 17 is on this side and that side, but you can see the way it was back then. It was way different back in the early 20th century or the late 19th century. This is an interesting picture I found of the Lanier Oak. You see Lanier Oak peeking above the building there. This is taken from a different view of the river, but you could tell there was a river that flowed right next and near the Lanier Oak. Today that's all filled in. That's Highway 17 will be on this side, and Highway 6 will be on this side. The Lanier Oak now sits in the middle of the medium of Highway 17. It's before they built the roads. And this right here is the Lanier bathhouse. So that's real interesting. This is a picture of the famous Helen Keller visiting Lanier Oak in Brunswick, and that right there and it says Lanier Oak carved into the tree. And she was a very famous person during that period, and she also was a very good friend of Sidney Lanier. Okay, this is a old picture of Lanier Oak, the one that's on 17. You can see behind Lanier Oak there's a marsh and a river back there. So one time when Highway 17 existed, it was marsh on that side, and in front of it is the part where you see from where the McDonald's side of 17 is. This is the monument dedicated to Lanier Oak. See, they got the flag of a time period when America had that many states. And it says, Lanier Oak. Neath this gracious tree stood Sidney Lanier, and under inspirations of the oak and these marshes wrote The Marshes of Glen. During the visit to Brunswick, the 1870 Sidney Lanier, Georgia's greatest poet, frequently sat beneath this tree. Here we see the inspiration which resulted in one of his finest poems, The Marshes of Glen. This is the view he had when he wrote Marshes of Glen. And this is the famous Sidney Lanier. Look at it, look how old it is. Just look at the size of the limbs and the moss hanging off of it. It's seen a lot. Sidney Lanier, the famous poem in the 1870s, Georgia's famous poet, sat under this tree. Just look at it. It's basically 3 trees together. Pretty large. It's got this cool hole in it. See that? Here, this tree. You can see this tree in a lot of the pictures of back in the 1800s, early 1900s. Just imagine sitting under this tree. The road wasn't there then, and looking at this marsh and being inspired to write a poem called The Marshes of Glen in the late 1800s. This oak, Lanier Oak, could speak. Imagine what it say. But if you want to find it, it's right here in the median. Howard Coffin Park's there. Overlook Park's over there. And so you got to pull over on the side of the road to get to it. Little pullovers on this side, you can pull over to see the tree.